Hey, it's Soul with our first official Midnight Beta video. Yay! Today I want to cover endeavors and how they work, as well as the die system, which has been testable for a while, but I want to spotlight something I don't like very much and give some critical feedback in hopes that it improves. Please like this video, subscribe for more WoW coverage, and catch me where I'm live. Let's go over endeavors first. Now, I don't like using this sort of vernacular, but I think of it like the Traveler's Log 2.0, but specific for housing. You might have read about endeavors, so I'll keep this part short. It's a monthly selection of tasks given to neighborhoods centered around a theme, much like the Traveler's Log. Completing tasks will earn rewards and progress the neighborhood through milestones. Meeting these milestones will unlock vendors who sell exclusive decor and unlocks. Now that this is testable, we can dive into more specifics on what our expected player behavior will be, both individually and as a neighborhood/group. What's testable at the moment is this Blood Elf Artisans group who comes to us for help and they hang out. You can see the neighborhood square has a collection of Blood Elf tents we haven't seen previously. Their Endeavor vendor hangs out next to the rewards we'll be working towards, like this floaty pen looking thing, a tent, an artist easel, and more. The Endeavor tasks we're given spread between generic and specific tasks based on the theme, again, very similar to the Traveler's Log. These tasks can be completed as a so-called neighborhood group, as in group up together for bonuses, but what you see here are individual tasks you do yourself. So no one steals from each other, you just do it on your own time over this monthly period. Completing these tasks will earn you housing experience towards expanding on your house and upgrading the decor, as well as getting these community coupons as a currency. Some tasks can only be completed once during the Endeavor period, where you'll see a checkmark noting that you're all done. Others can be repeated, and these are noted by this little loopy arrow thing, although the returns diminish after repeat completions until it hits a minimum. So as an example, defeating 5 of any raid bosses earns 20 points for the community and a small amount of coupons and housing experience. Repeating it then earns 15, and then 10, and finally bottoms out at 5 points. Now this is pretty sad compared to completing specific endeavors that earn a one-shot of like a few hundred points towards these milestones. However, unlike the Traveler's Log and Trading Post, the community coupons you earn can be infinitely farmed from these repeatable tasks, again with diminishing returns, but there's no cap that you have to meet or else. Coupons are what you spend on Endeavor vendors with what feels like reasonable prices. I happen to earn 25 or so coupons from just an hour's worth of testing, which let me buy a few pieces. And by the way, I wasn't doing like very difficult stuff, I was just helping out some elves and killing some raid bosses. And by the way, we can now also preview decor just like transmog from the vendors, so we have a better idea of what we're buying. Knowing that many Endeavor tasks overlap with regular gameplay, as well as the infinite farm despite diminishing returns, it certainly feels like players will be able to quickly amass lots of coupons passively, and then spend whenever they feel like it. Endeavors will be chosen automatically in public neighborhoods, while private neighborhoods will be able to choose among a selection when it's time. What we don't know at the moment is how many choices will be in that pool for private neighborhoods. We also don't know if among public neighborhoods will the selected endeavor be from that pool. The theory here is that during any one period, all the endeavors in the monthly pool will be up somewhere. People will reach out to find endeavors that have completed their milestones and unlocked all the vendors, and these neighborhoods will also advertise that their neighborhood has a fully unlocked endeavor available. And there's no incentive or gain from that, it's just bragging rights and an invitation to have people visit that neighborhood. I'm also not feeling the idea of FOMO quite yet. It's mostly thanks again to this infinite farm, and how it seems much more likely we'll see repeats of endeavors as they're part of a pool and they're not just lining up single file. What's not realized at the moment is how Endeavor milestones scale with the size of the neighborhood. Reportedly, the larger the neighborhood, the higher the scaling when it comes to trying to complete these milestones. However, I'm not so worried about this because ultimately we're making individual contributions towards a greater whole. So worst case scenario, the endeavors in my neighborhood, they might never progress, but I can still actively farm up coupons for myself even if I'm solo and then spend them elsewhere. From the read of it, this is about exactly what I've been predicting. It's the Traveler's Log, but easier, with a currency gamers can hard grind if they really want to. And they should be able to, considering decor will always cost coupons. It's not a system where we unlock decor purchases with coupons and then buy the rest with gold afterwards forever. Early reactions are of course going to point out another currency grind, but the Endeavor activities don't exactly have people going out of their way. Folks who might just be farming up one of everything for the sake of collections, I think they'll have a pretty easy time. My as-is feedback, I feel the hook sinking in. As this test endeavor dropped, I was already looking through the list, finding the easy, repeatable stuff to do, as well as paying attention to those big, meaty rewards. I'm going to want to grind this out not just for the coupons and endeavor progression, but for the housing experience too, which is also infinitely repeatable with similar diminishing returns. I'm excited to farm, but also I'm not feeling like a strong sense of urgency that I'll feel punished if I lapse or take a break. So far, the system feels like a big win with respect to players' time and cool rewards. But we'll see when the Mechagon Endeavor rolls around, I end up broke on coupons and I start raging over my poverty. I also want to put a spotlight on dyes we can use on many housing decor items and also give feedback on the flow and logistics, which I think could use some tweaking. So here's the basics of how dyes work. Scribes and alchemists will have 10 new crafting recipes they immediately learn to create 10 different kinds of pigments. Each recipe allows users to add herbs from any of WoW's expansions to create said pigment. My prediction, this will solidify a kind of new price floor for herbs, so even herbs that end up going for very cheap, which is usually the ones from the most current expansion, they'll be able to maintain a bit steadier of a price compared to other herbs, because folks will constantly be seeking out the cheapest herbs to sell until prices are mostly regulated. So I like how this is working so far. But then we get to the actual crafting of dye. There are over 60 recipes of dye because there are over 60 dye colors available when changing the color of decor. These recipes use 1 unit of any of the 10 pigments to make these dye colors. Finally, when actually customizing decor, users will choose between the 60-some colors available and consume the relevant dyes. I take issue with the number of dye to create because it can quickly turn into a logistical nightmare. Some colors will be more popular than others, so there's going to be this economic situation where some dye is just not worth crafting for the cost of the pigments or herbs that go into it. And on top of that, like I said, it's 60 different items. Not everyone's going to set on all 60 in their banks and war banks, but this will add up even from casual use. Personally, I find that this much space to free up is kind of obnoxious. I do have a suggestion though. Instead of having scribes and alchemists make pigments, how about we just skip straight to making dye instead? So instead of 60, there will be 10 dyes to create. I find this to be a much more manageable set of items to navigate through in the inventory and auction house, and from here, if we go straight to the decor customization, going through the color options, each selection will consume the related dye just like before. It's just that multiple colors will be covered by a single dye, so economically, the same number of items are being used, we're just skipping a step. There's another suggestion which might not land so well because in a way this also nerfs dye, so why not use 2 kinds of dye to create certain colors? Like if I want to paint this chair a special off-green color, it's going to require the yellow and the blue dye, while a more plain green color will just require the green dye or maybe 2 of the green dye. Maybe that won't work, but at the very least I think players would handle it much better knowing they only need to choose between 10 dyes as opposed to 60. And that's all my feedback for now. Let the devs know what you think in a comment. Please like this video, subscribe for more WoW coverage, catch me live, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.